Welcome to this workflow demo series from Original and this particular demonstration covering document barcoding, the use of letterheads, watermarks and archiving. I'm Stephen Lockyer and I shall be joined by my colleague Nick Pugh, who'll take us through the actual demonstration in a few minutes' time. A little bit about Original. We are an established European business-to-business distributor of software solutions and the associated services and hardware. We are focused on print, capture, document workflow automation, and speech recognition solutions and services. We have a broad portfolio of market-leading solutions and brands, and we are independent, privately owned, and benefit from our own pre-sales implementation and technical support resources. The intent of this demo series is to highlight and demonstrate specific software solutions and services, to explain the features and benefits that resellers can enable for their end customers, along with the issues and opportunities that can be addressed, to provide resellers with the information and confidence to open relevant discussions with their customers, and to ensure that resellers are aware of the solutions and professional services that are available to them from Original. Now, this particular demonstration covers the use of barcodes, letterheads, watermarks, and archiving of documents. And a typical customer scenario might well be that the customer requires a copy of all print jobs to be archived for later access, possibly by a call center. The archived jobs should be clearly marked as an archived copy to avoid confusion with non-archived copies. There is a need to optimize documents that are returned to a business process, but the existing systems cannot add barcodes or other machine-readable information to the outbound documents. There is also the need to add terms and conditions or perhaps legal disclaimers, etc., some of which could be a regulatory requirement. And this might be a manual process at the time of posting and could even require language localization. There is a need to eliminate pre-printed stationery to save cost, waste, and the potential for incorrect stationery use. So what will this automated workflow show? There are going to be a number of things actually. We're going to show multi-destination routing where we automatically create both print and archive versions of the document. We will be archiving the documents using extracted document metadata and content information, and we'll be using the Control Suite document library. We're going to transform documents from print files into text searchable PDFs for archiving. We're going to use selectable letterheads rather than using pre-printed stationery. There'll be some machine readable information added in the form of barcodes, and that will be based on data that we've extracted from the file. We'll use watermarking. We'll show several methods of accessing the document library, and we'll show the automatic sending of an email to confirm that the archiving has taken place. Now, this is important and beneficial to customers because automation ensures efficient, repeatable, and accurate activities with documents that are stored and routed. Documents can be quickly retrieved from an archive using metadata or document content as search criteria. Document repository security can be maintained and enhanced, and all actions are recorded in the audit log, so compliance and reporting requirements are supported. Pre-printed stock issues are removed, including the cost, the obsolescence, the cost of storage, and the risk of operational errors. If we take a high-level look at the workflow, and this is quite useful because some of the things that Nick will show us on the screen may not be immediately visible. Some of it will happen in background, but the workflow at a high level is that the document will be submitted to print. It will be reviewed and the content and the metadata will be extracted. That will allow us to determine the appropriate classification for that document and which rules apply. We will be able to add barcodes, terms and conditions, and letterheads, and we'll be able to update the document name using that extracted information so it's more easily recognizable. The job will then be split into two streams. The archive stream will add a watermark. It will then create a folder within the structure of the storage location. It will store the document, and then it will send an email confirming completion. The print stream, on the other hand, will hold the document in a secure release queue until it's ready to be released, at which point it can then be distributed or posted as required. The specific technology that we're going to be using today for this demonstration is the Control Suite platform from Kofax, who are one of the major brands that we work with. So I'd now like to hand over to my colleague Nick Pugh, who's going to take us through the actual demonstration of this software.
Thank you, Stephen, for that introduction on the barcoding, letterheading, watermarking and archiving workflow. Hi everyone, my name's Nick Pugh. I'm a pre-sales analyst at Digital. I'm going to show you visually what a lot of the information and points Stephen talked about are in action. So we've got a user here with a document. It's an invoice and there is no barcoding on it. He's got an invoice number. And we want to put a barcode on it at time of print because that's part of the inbound process when this document comes back to enable it to be perhaps scanned and barcode recognized for auto store, perhaps for faster routing of wherever that document's got to go to for payment processing or goods inwards or whatever it may be. So we're just going to go ahead and do a print. At the same time, we're going to be adding static letterheading to this document and also routing a copy of the document to the document library as an archive. So let's go ahead and do the first part of this. So I'm just going to go ahead and do a standard print. And what you'll see is as we hit print in the background, we've got the Output Manager console and you're going to see one job arrive and then split into two because that's the multi-destination routing. So let's go ahead and do that part. There's the one job. There's the second job. And again, you'll see each job is now taking on its own identity and going through lots of processes. So I've manually slowed this down, otherwise this would just shoot straight through and it'd be very difficult to explain what's gone on. Let's start with the job that the user chose to print. So this is still as a PostScript file. It's going to his office pending queue or going to wherever the print process is. We've renamed the document. So as you can see, we've added the invoice number to the document name. We can take a look at the document with the Output Manager viewer. And you'll see a couple of things here. Number one, we've added the barcode number. So you can see there's the barcode, there's the HRI in that little sector, the human readable interface number underneath it. We've got a variety of barcodes that we can support within the product that we can either read or generate. I think there's 42. So the 1D barcodes and 2D barcodes are possible. If anybody's got a camera, please do point it at that barcode that we've just generated and verify that it does resolve to the number 552345. We've additionally added some watermarking to the document, so some dynamic watermarking. So the user had no say in it; it just happened. It's our standard company letterhead, as the case may be. We've also added some additional terms and conditions pages. What you didn't see within and perhaps I should have shown you, within the original document, it was just a one-page document. So we've added terms and conditions. Again, these have been done statically, so without any intelligence. We could have done a different terms, based on the invoice number or who the document is going to, which region, which country, which manufacturing plant. We could have put specific terms and conditions or additional payment information or additional product information relating to that specific region. So we've got that ability to do that. So that's pretty much the document that's heading off to be printed. So let's come out of that and let's just take a look at the archive copy. So again, we've renamed this one. We've just added again the invoice number in it. You'll notice that it's PDF. We do want to archive in PDF format, and it will be a text searchable PDF as well. But we've also added an overlay, a watermark to make sure this is clearly identified as an archive copy, as you can see there. We've also archived and included the terms and conditions as part of the archive, because it's important that whatever we archive looks exactly the same visually and information wise as what was sent out in the post. So I'm just going to let that release to the document library because I put a hold on it so that we could pause and see that. That's off on its way to the document library now. We've got two ways of viewing documents in document library. We're just going to use the quick way. We're going to go into here. We've got a section, top level barcoded invoices demo, which is where this particular document's going to go. And we've got a folder 552345, and that's where that document's sat. If I just change, or if I print again, we're going to leave this window in the background open, and you'll see As soon as we print another invoice for that invoice number, you'll see that it will appear. If we just give it a few seconds for it to go through the processing of adding the barcode to the document and adding the watermark, adding the terms and conditions, that'll come through, and sure enough, there it is there. If I just change maybe one number in there, make that with a 4 in it, and then just print that again, it's not going to end up in the folder that we're in. You're going to see, without me touching anything, it's going to create dynamically a new top level folder underneath the barcoded invoices demo, and that's just going to appear in a second. And if we just be very patient for a few more seconds, there we go. So there's the new folder, and there's the new, within that folder is the new document. And again, we can view that. And again, if anyone would check that, you know, that is the correct barcode value, please do feel free to scan that on the screen and verify for yourselves. The other way of accessing those documents are via the web console. So the documents that are in archive are in the web console. But before we go and take a look at that, what I want to do is just show you a different possibility when we print on the letterheading side, to give the user the ability to dynamically himself control which letterhead they get to choose. So we can override the standard original letterhead by going to our other properties, which is an entirely customizable tab within the Universal PostScript Print driver. We can control what we put on this tab, what the names of the values are, and what actions happen as a result of picking them. So I would like a letterhead, and I would like it in the, I don't know, we'll go with the health department. So we're going to go ahead, hit print. We're going to let that go through. We're going to take a look at that in the archive, or we could take a look at it in the print queue if we wanted to, but because we're sat in the archive, we'll wait for that to come through into the archive, into this folder, and it was the slightly later version, so this one. And if we take a look at it now, you'll see that we've got a completely different letterhead on it. So it's the Department of Health invoice. So again, very, very quick and easy way to control multiple branding items that you may have. You may have, you know, the traditional problem of a printer with only 6 paper trays and 13 different letterheads. So this would be absolutely ideal for that. As I said, it can be controlled by the user. It can be controlled intelligently or dynamically. That can be controlled entirely by content. So before we finish off, just go over to the document library, and actually before we do, what we're getting sent is, every time we send a job to the archive, we're getting an email, so we can see we've got some information there. We can customize this. We've got the link to the document library where we can log in, and again, let's just log in. And you'll see pretty much the same thing that we were looking at in the Fit console, and we can take a look in one of these folders, and we can view the document through the web console, and it looks exactly the same. I hope that you found that demonstration informative and useful, and I'm going to hand back to Stephen now for a summary. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Nick. So let's now have a quick recap of what we've seen. This particular scenario was based on the customer needing a copy of all print jobs for archiving and later access, that those archive jobs should be clearly marked, that documents that were being returned into the document process were optimized to allow for machine reading, that we needed to add terms and conditions to the document, and that we wanted to eliminate the need for pre-printed stationery and the costs and risks, etc., that go with that. So we've seen multi-destination routing, we've seen archiving of documents, we've seen the document transformed from a print file into a text searchable PDF, we've seen the use of selectable letterheads, we've seen barcodes added to the document, a watermark added to the document, and we've looked at several methods of accessing the document library. And then finally, we saw an email being sent by the system to confirm that the archiving had taken place. This was important to the customer because they wanted an efficient, repeatable and accurate process. They wanted to quickly be able to retrieve documents, possibly within a call center environment. They needed the document and the repository security to be maintained and enhanced. They wanted everything to be in the audit log so that compliance and reporting requirements were supported, and they wanted to get rid of the use of pre-printed stock and the costs and risks that go with that. Other things that we could have perhaps done in this demonstration would be to include additional machine readable data or enhanced security features within the document. We could have extended the document process and processing based on the extracted data, such as modifying the document or changing the imposition, determining the routing that should take place, or even adding extra things into the document. We could have enabled e-delivery of the document. So rather than just print and archive, we could have emailed it to individuals. We could have fed it into a fax server or some kind of cloud communication repository. We could have stored it into any number of external document management or ERP, CRM systems instead of using the internal Control Suite document library. Or we could have done both. We could have uploaded information into a database or other line of business system to enable business processing and reporting. And we could have initiated other workflows out of the back of this workflow. So the output from one becomes the input from another. So I hope you found this interesting. If you would like more information, you can contact us via the website www.ordiginal.com. Thank you very much for your time.